Nathan Caldwell lived in a house that looked like it had been pulled from the pages of a luxury magazine, marble floors, antique chandeliers, and a fountain that gurgled lazily in the garden. But beneath the polished surface, the house reeked of coldness. Silence had settled in long ago, wrapping itself around every wall like mildew. Bernard Caldwell, his father, was a titan in the world of real estate. Ruthless, proud, and sharp-tongued, he was feared in the boardroom and loathed in the home. His word was law. He didn't beat his son, but words, harsh, cutting words, were his weapon of choice. "You never amount to anything more than a parasite," Bernard would say. "Living off my wealth like a leech." Nathan never responded. He would just smile. Because Nathan knew something Bernard didn't, he didn't intend to live off him forever. Evelyn Caldwell was not just Bernard's wife, she was his trophy. 20 years younger and strikingly beautiful, Evelyn had once been a struggling gallery artist. Bernard swept her out of poverty, polished her, and placed her on display. But Evelyn was no fool. She played the role, gracious, graceful, but not loyal. In the shadows of that sterile mansion, Nathan had watched her. Not as a son would watch a mother, but as a man observed a woman of desire. It had started innocently, her laugh, her perfume, the way she painted in the sunroom. But soon, it spiraled into something darker. A longing. A craving. They barely spoke, just exchanged lingering looks. But Nathan saw it, something in her eyes when Bernard shouted. She hated the man. Maybe, just maybe, they had something in common. Nathan's plan wasn't rushed. He studied, read, watched crime documentaries, and learned patience. He knew Bernard's routine, glass of Chateau Margaux every night at exactly 9:30 p.m. in the study, by himself. He knew the butler never entered without being called. And so, on the night of September 2nd, Nathan walked into the dim study with the lace bottle of wine and 2 crystal glasses. "I thought we could drink together for once, Dad," he said with a smile. Bernard looked up, suspicious. "Trying to win me over now?" "No," Nathan said calmly. "Just trying to understand you." He poured the wine. Only Bernard drank. Within minutes, his father's face twisted in agony. He clutched at his throat, collapsed, and stared at Nathan with wild, pleading eyes. But Nathan simply sat across from him and watched. When Bernard stopped moving, Nathan reached for the bottle and poured himself a glass. He sipped it slowly, savoring victory. The funeral was held 3 days later. Press surrounded the family. Nathan wore black, his expression perfectly solemn. Evelyn was draped in dark lace, a small black hat covering her face. She didn't cry. She didn't need to. After the funeral, Nathan found her in the garden, staring at the fountain. "You're free now," he said quietly. She turned to him slowly, eyes unreadable. "That man made me feel like property." "I know," he said. There was a pause, a long silence filled with shared history and unspoken desires. She didn't resist when he kissed her hand. They became closer under the guise of shared grief. Long walks, late-night wine in the library, stories of Bernard's cruelty. Nathan knew how to manipulate. Evelyn knew how to be manipulated. But in the center of it all was desire. Their first kiss happened after a storm. Lightning crackled, and Evelyn stood by the window, trembling. Nathan approached from behind and touched her shoulder. She turned, and the silence between them shattered. They kissed. And from that night, the line between mother and son vanished. In secret, they became lovers. The media soon caught on. Paparazzi photos. Anonymous tips. Evelyn Caldwell, widow of real estate mogul, in scandalous relationship with stepson. Evelyn was not his biological mother. Bernard had married her when Nathan was 13, years after his real mother had died of cancer. But society didn't care for details. To them, this was incest. But Nathan didn't care. He had the money. He had Evelyn. And now, he wanted power. "I want us married," he said one night. Evelyn blinked. "Are you serious?" "We've already crossed the line," he said. "Why not own it?" She agreed. The ceremony was held in a private villa in Greece. Only 3 guests were present. Nathan wore a white suit. Evelyn wore red. Nathan changed after the marriage. He became paranoid. He installed cameras in every room. He accused Evelyn of having affairs. He fired staff regularly. He stopped painting, reading, even sleeping. Evelyn watched his descent with quiet intensity. "You're different," she said one night. "I gave up everything for you." He snapped. "I killed for you." She raised a brow. "You killed for yourself." Silence fell. He realized his mistake too late. "You knew." He whispered. "I've always known," she said. Evelyn had played her part well. She had known about the poisoning. Bernard had suspected Nathan of plotting and had warned her before he died. But she said nothing. She wanted Bernard gone too. But unlike Nathan, she wasn't greedy, she was strategic. She waited. Let Nathan destroy himself with lust and obsession. And now, she would finish it. One night, she prepared dinner. Nathan barely ate, paranoid as ever. She brought him a drink, a rare whiskey he loved. He drank half before pausing. "What's this taste?" "Like justice," she said coldly. He began to tremble. What did you?" "The same poison you used on Bernard," she said, watching him convulse. But slower. "I wanted to watch you remember everything you did." Nathan died before dawn. Evelyn stood over his body, dressed in black once again. She picked up her paintbrush, walked into the sunroom, and began to paint for the first time in years. The world would mourn another Caldwell death. But Evelyn, she would live. Years later, a painting sold at an exclusive gallery in Florence. It showed a young man drowning in red wine, a snake coiled around his neck, and a woman in the background, smiling. The title: The Price of Greed. And no one ever suspected the truth behind the brushstrokes.